Get ready to code just a random preloader and drop-down menu navigation for a website with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Did you guys notice the smooth transition between preloader and website content? Also, the transition animation on hover on drop-down menu and nested drop-down menu along with simple hover effect. Let's start with a simple preloader and then work on drop-down menu navigation. In HTML, the preloader div simply contains a background image and a percentage text. That's all for the preloader, but if you want a prettier preloader, then check out my preloader video, link in the description. Now this content contains everything on the website that is supposed to show after preloader is done. In our case, it includes navbar and the text in the hero section. That being said, we are writing our glassmorphic drop-down menu navbar. This glassmorphic navbar contains a logo with logo image and a menu, including nested submenus for the services section. We will be using our text defaults from CSS like subtitle class. I will also put the link for the fonts I used in this code if you are interested in them. Here comes the menu and menu items, one of which will have submenus. I don't know why, but this menu containing submenus containing nested submenus reminds me of those dolls containing smaller doll containing another smaller doll. And now I have officially started rambling. By the way, I will show the classes from CSS Defaults that we will use here when we get to CSS, and I have also put the link in bio for the entire code in the description. Now we will create the nested submenu with web design. This whole thing is quite random and not practical or professional, but you will get the idea of how to use this kind of preloader and drop-down menu in your extremely awesome websites. So good luck on your projects, everybody! I was actually going for just the submenu, but then I thought drop-down menu looks better and more understandable when submenus have drop-down menu as well, so here we are. Now comes the final part of the main menu, and after that our text to fill up the web page, because a blank web page with just navbar doesn't look presentable for YouTube. You guys please comment if you want to see a car website or a coffee website. I am not sure which idea I should work on first. And finally, we are wrapping the text in the wrapper class with row class simply display flexing everything to center. Let me take this opportunity to ask to subscribe to my channel, since every single increase in the subscription makes my mom happily announce it to me, and I love her smile so much. Time for some makeup with CSS. Well, Arboreto and Spectral are the fonts used in this video. Our root variables have colors we will use today. And we have our HTML and body style, and in body we have our background image covering the web page. Now we also have anchor tag and list style somewhere. There it is, we removed all the default text decorations and list points here. Now using Flexbox, we gotta center everything with the row class style. And wrapper is simply maintaining distance from the navbar above. Now we see text default that we used in HTML real quick. I think besides header text class, all the other text defaults use Spectral font. You can find all my CSS defaults in the link in the description. Header text class itself uses Arboreto font from Google Fonts, and it has a responsive font size for all screen sizes using Calc and W viewport width as units. And we also have subheading class with italic font style. Let's see if we have shown everything we have used in HTML, and then we will start writing CSS. Time for preloader styling first, and then drop-down menu navigation. Here we position the preloader fixed at the top left, centers its content with Flexbox, applies a semi-transparent black background, uses smooth opacity transition, and ensures it appears above other content. If someone doesn't know what a preloader is, it's a loading screen that you see on some sites before the main content of the web page is loaded. We will create a hidden class that will fade out the preloader by setting opacity to 0 and disables pointer events for underlying interaction. Preloader fade out animation was created to have a smooth transition rather than sudden content appearance after preloader. Here, we position the background image absolutely within the preloader, centers it at 20% size without repeating, and places it below other preloader content with a -z index. Whenever I use the logo image, just know it means the panther you saw in the demo that I basically picked from Canva. Percentage positions the percentage text relatively and centers it vertically within the preloader and ensures the text is initially visible. When we have so many text defaults already made, why not use one of them instead of writing boring font styles again and again? Let's continue our percentage again now that we somehow saved a few million years of time with. Now we have reached the content class that will be displayed after the preloader disappears. Content initially hides the main content with opacity set to 0 and uses a smooth opacity transition and sets display to block. Now this code shows the main content when the preloader is hidden by setting its opacity to 1 and displays the content as flex. As someone who adds voiceovers after the video is recorded, I see my mistakes sometimes and then have to add a new video to make it right. So right after CSS is complete, we will tackle the mistake I just see with navbar. Nav applies a semi-transparent, blurred background with a subtle shadow, adds rounded corners, a border, and padding for spacing. By the way, backdrop filter is not supported by Firefox unfortunately, so we gotta add WebKit to it. Blur effect makes it look more glassmorphic. The more the blur effect, the more it looks glassy. We are gonna make sure that the navigation menu is in the center of the screen and not entirely covering the web page width because that looks boring. Why write the whole display flex thing when I can simply just add a row class to it? Logo uses flexbox to center and evenly space the logo elements, and ensures text is uppercase when it comes to logo. You know, using my typical way of centering stuff. Could have used the row class here as well. As far as logo image is concerned, it is set to be the height of 60 pixels. Menu removes default list styling and uses flexbox to align menu items horizontally. Meanwhile, menu item positions the menu item relatively to accommodate dropdowns and nested dropdowns. Anchor styles the menu links with padding and color, removes underlines, and adds a smooth background color transition on hover. Do you guys know I am having a cup of tea in a very hot weather while editing this because I can't live without my cup of tea in the evening and morning? Anyways, greater than A means select all elements that are direct children of the parent element. Here it changes the background color of the menu links on hover. Now it's time to style drop-down submenu and nested submenu. We want to style the drop-down menus with absolute positioning, hides them initially, uses animation for smooth appearance, and sets a z-index for visibility. I know everyone knows this, but this Agba with 255 is for white with 0.1 opacity, Agba with zeros are for black. This fade-in animation I will make is very simple but makes elements look smooth when they appear. Now that we have styled the drop-down and nested drop-down menu container, it's time to address the items inside them. Well, we are just positioning the submenu items relatively. Within these submenu items and nested submenu items, we have anchor tags and we style these submenu links with padding and color, removes underlines, and adds a smooth background color transition on hover. It's been 84 years since I posted, but thanks for sticking around, you guys are great. This transition is similar to the one we previously used, so just copy-paste it. Now we add a hover effect on these anchor tags by changing the background color of the submenu links on hover. I am too lazy to write the same line again and again, so we keep the copy-paste trend going. We have dealt with anchor tags when we hover on menu items, but we have yet to deal with submenu itself. We gotta display it only when hover on menu item. Same goes for nested submenu that will only display while hovering on submenu item. We also need to position the nested submenu absolutely to the left of its parent. Remember the fade-in animation we created? Well, now we create it with keyframes. Keyframes fade-in defines an animation for fading in elements with a slight upward motion. Kinda simple but nice animation, right? I prefer to keep navbar animations simple because there are way better things on a web page that should look way too awesome and cool than navbar. Time to rectify the mistake. Glassmorphic navbar will be initially hidden, and that becomes visible when the preloader is hidden. We forgot to add that part. Actually, my stupid self forgot to add that part. I had to write such a nice long class name in HTML glassmorphic navbar and still forgot to use in CSS. Guess why it looks like this? Because it's time for JavaScript. This JavaScript code will handle the functionality of a preloader, which displays a loading percentage and fades out once loading is complete, revealing the main content. We are selecting the HTML element with the ID percentage, which displays the loading percentage. We also want the HTML element with the class preloader, which is the overlay that shows the loading progress. This time we select the HTML element with the class content, which contains the main content of the page. Now we initialize a variable progress to track the loading percentage. And now we start a timer that runs the enclosed function every 30 milliseconds. We will write that 30 later. We need to increase the loading percentage by 1 and update the text content of the percentage element to show the current progress value followed by a percentage sign. Now we use if statement to check if the loading percentage has reached or exceeded 100. If that's the case, then stop the timer when the loading reaches 100% and set a delay of 1000 milliseconds 1 second before running the enclosed function, allowing the preloader to be visible briefly even after reaching 100%, while adding the hidden class to the preloader element. In short, the code simulates a loading process by incrementing a percentage value from 0 to 100, updating the displayed percentage, and fading out the preloader to reveal the main content after reaching 100% and waiting an additional second. What did we do now? Let's hunt down the problem. It's usually math-related with me. Found the culprit. Let's fix it. So here is the thing. There are small changes I made to the code that differ the website from the demo video because this looks way better. I didn't change anything important, just the font size and color of percentage, and I centralized the navbar stuff, but the main things are same like preloader and drop-down menu navigation. I hope it catches your heart and you love it enough to subscribe to my channel. At least I managed to get this video out, which I am very proud about, even if this video sucks.